All right, good morning. This morning, I wanted to focus on some of our new agents. So I know some of you guys work during the day. Hopefully you guys can watch back this video when I share it with the office. I really wanted to try and focus on our new agents. We have so many nice new agents that have come into the industry, and I just want to try and help you guys get your business started. So where do we find business from? First of all, I want to ask you guys, is there anything specific that you need, right? You guys know you can reach out to me anytime. Is there anything specific that you're having trouble with in your business? What's the hardest thing you guys are finding so far with your real estate license? Bilkis, what's the hardest thing so far? You're what? You forgot. I think one of the hardest things that people come into the business, they think, okay, I got my license. Now everybody's going to use me and I'm going to buy and sell a million things. And then you realize, okay, wait a minute, I have to go out there and have to find business somewhere. How do I find business, right? So when a lot of you come in, I start off with saying, hey, you know what? You have to build your center of influence. Now, this is something that I use to this day. I still use my center of influence. Anyone of you sitting for Rob Vivian's training right now every Wednesday in the office, see that he talks a lot about the center of influence. Now, what is that exactly? That's a list that you're going to start to create. So whenever you guys first come in and join the office with a brand new license, I always tell everybody this, and they don't really realize the value of it until you start using it and start working it, right? So I just want to go over that a little bit. What is your center of influence, right? Your center of influence, I just want to make sure, can you guys all see that there online? I'm going to stop the share and come back to it real quick because sometimes when I open things, I lose the share. All right, so the center of influence is a list that you're going to make, basically. This seems like a mundane task, but trust me, you're going to come back to it a million times. Anytime after 14 or 15 years of having my license now, when I'm stuck, say this week I don't have any business, I don't have any listings coming up, and I'm not working with any buyers, I go back to my center of influence all the time. Now, Rob Vivian talks about working it in 11 pieces, and you should be. That's the more efficient way of working it. I just tend to get busy sometimes, but admittedly, I always go back to the center of influence. What this is this is a list that you're going to start to create. And what you're going to do is you're going to put everybody you know on it. Your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your coworker, somebody you see at the coffee shop every day, somebody you go to a restaurant, the same place you go and get gas every day. These people that you get familiar with, where you get a haircut from, the lawyer you use, the dentist you use, and you're going to start to create your center of influence this way. Once you start to get some business from that center of influence, you start to work it. It's exactly like Rob Vivian's been talking about. We're going to work it. We're going to keep on going back to these people. We're going to be asking for business on the regular, right? You want to ask these people, even if I say you're on my center of influence, for instance, Bilkis, and I say, hey, are you buying or selling? You say no. You don't just leave it at that. You have to ask for more business. You have to say, do you know anybody that's buying or selling? Right? Please, give me their number. I would love to help them. You have to keep on working it and growing your center of influence. How do you grow your center of influence? With people you meet on the daily. So say you're at the gas station and, you give your card to the guy when you pay gas because you see him every day. You say, hey, by the way, I have my real estate license now. If you need anything, and the guy goes, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm looking for another location. Great. Now you've put him on your list. You're working with him. You're going to set him up in your prospect list, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. But basically, this is a good little cheat sheet I picked off of a productivity school. As you can see, I think this was like a Mike Ferry thing that I went to, but it was a really comprehensive list just to jog your memory of who you can think of. As you can see here, they have your accountant, appraisers that you work with, maybe your electrician or somebody you fish with, or, different things that you can add to that list. This list is so important. It really is. And I swear to you guys that even now, when I'm sitting and I'm looking for business, I go back to I think it's like 800 people on the list, for instance. And I go back and I go, oh, you know what? It happened a couple of months ago. I went to my clients and I said to them, hey, I know you guys bought a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. You must have a lot of equity. You guys thinking of buying soon? And they were like, oh, maybe not right now, but we were kind of thinking of buying a cottage. You know what I mean? And so we started sending them cottages in our prospect list. So you got to keep on working it. It's definitely your lifeline. It's something that gives you business time to time again. It's one, we always talk about working our pillars. It's your constant pillar. You always have to have that one in place 100%. Right? So what do you do when you talk to somebody and they say, hey, yeah, I really want to look for another location, for instance, for my business, like I talked about that gas station. And I'm using that as an example because a couple of girls here, I had talked to them one day about doing this. I said 10 business cards a day, girls, that's the rule. And you really got to try. It's hard. It's hard to give out 10 business cards in a day. I don't always succeed in doing it, but just because I'm mindful that I want to give out 10 business cards a day, I'm always giving out my business card for different reasons. Sorry, I'm just trying to log into Stratus here as well while I'm talking to you guys. But I use that as an example because I told the girls here one day, I said, hey, you know, even if you go to the gas station and fill gas, you're going to go and say to that guy, hey, I see you every day at this gas station, or every week at least, however often you fill gas, and start chatting with him about his real estate needs, right? And they came squealing back because it worked, because he had actually said this. He said, oh, you know, I'm thinking of opening up another location, right? After they gave the business card. So don't underestimate the power of handing out your business card and asking for business every day. Why has it logged me out of here? There we go. Stop share for a second. There we go. Okay, so we talk about, you know, using our center of influence, handing out our business cards, 10 business cards a day. When you do that and somebody says to you, you know what, I might be passively looking for a cottage, or I might be looking for another location for my business. What are you guys going to do? You're going to go home, hopefully, and send them an email, or back to the office and send them an email right away. Don't say you will and not do it, because that kills your impression to that person right away. If you put them off for a couple of days, there's a million other agents out there. They're probably having the same conversation. If anybody else asks them, if that agent jumps on it faster, they look more efficient, right? So what you want to do is you want to go in here, and I'm just going to share the screen, and I'm not sure everybody knows this, so I just want to show it. It is a pretty basic thing, but I show it every time when people come in and I show them how to use the system and how to search for properties. I always advise everybody to go into their prospect search and set up a prospect. Now, this is something that works in the background for you. What we're trying to do is we're trying to free up as much time for you to go and find more business, because you have to understand, in the real estate business, you need about, 30, 40, 50 clients sort of floating around you that are actively sort of looking for something, but you need those 2-3 hot leads to work with at the same time. But how do you still nurture? How do you nurture those 30, 40, 50 people that you have in the background? This is different ways that I nurture them, okay? I make sure that I put everybody in, even if they passively mention it to me, or even if someone says, I might be thinking of selling next year. So I had a client yesterday say this to me, I'm thinking of selling maybe next year sometime, I might be ready. I said, okay, great. Do you want me to set up an email for you of things happening in your neighborhood that are sales? So you're sort of aware of where things are going. So I know over the course of the next year, I might not be keeping in touch with them every single week or every single time something pops up in their neighborhood and sells, but I set them up as a prospect. So my prospect's going to work for me, right? In the meantime, it's going to be informing them, and they'll get that email, and I'm sort of keeping on top of mind with the client, right? While in the meantime, this over the course of the year, I'm working with other hot leads, right? That are buying now and selling now. So before you go for your normal search to search for people, so if I went to the store right now and someone said to me, oh, hey, yeah, I'm looking for a new location for a gas station. Okay, great. No problem. Before I come here and search, I take it one step ahead of here and I go into prospect searches. Okay. And as you can see, I literally have tons. There's tons in here. Some of these people, they've been in there for months and months and months, but it's passively working for me. You see all the prospects? It's just a habit. I come and I put it in right away once I see people or I talk to people, and I say, you know what, let me send you an email and let me set you up on that. So what you're going to do is we're just going to go create. Okay. And we're going to put training here just so I know to delete it. And we'll put training here again, where you just put your client's name here. Just don't name them that silly client or something like that, because it does come up at the top of the email when you send it to them. We'll just set it up with my email and say they're looking for a residential freehold sale. You go continue, and it brings you to our regular search screen, right? Now you can do the search, but what I just eliminated now is that once I go into here today, so say I just want to find them something in Toronto, and I'm going to find them in something in E09, right? And you can go further and put their budget in and the amount of bedrooms, but don't forget to hit save. Okay. Now that I've saved it, every single morning, it's going to email them anything that comes up in that criteria. So it's going to email this training client anything in EO9 that comes up in whatever budget or bedrooms or pool or whatever I put in there for different things that they need, right? Now this is actively working for me. Okay. The only time you have to push the email is today. If I look today, I have to send what I think fits their criteria today. But going forward from today, it's going to always send them an email. So as you can see, when I go back into my prospects, go down to T, training is in there, right? But every single morning, this is how many emails are being sent automatically without me doing anything. Before I even get up and brush my teeth in the morning, all my clients in here have gotten an email of anything that matches their criteria. If something's come up. If nothing's come up, they won't get an email. But most of them are like, yeah, okay, they're going to get an email of something that matches the criteria, whether that be the price range or in the area that they're looking. Okay. So don't be surprised how this will work for you, because there's so many in here. Very often I get somebody out of the woodworks I haven't heard from in a couple of years, and they'll go, hey, you sent me an email this morning. And I have to quickly go check my email to see what I sent them, what shot out from the prospect search. Right. And then, you can go show them stuff, but it's a really great way to passively get some clients working for you. All right. How's everybody doing there online? I was going to go over our pillars a little bit, because the big thing is how to get started today, how to get our business started. Where do we pull that business from? Right. So we can go back in here. Does anybody have any questions? I like to address specific concerns. So if you guys are specifically saying, as a new agent, I'm finding it really hard to close my buyer, or, I went for 3 listing appointments and I didn't get them. We can troubleshoot any of those as well. You don't just have to listen to me talk. This training is for you guys, but anybody, you can approach me at any time and just say that to me. Like, I'm having trouble. I went for these last couple of listing appointments, and we can kind of pick apart and see how we can refine your skills and help you land those appointments. Right. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to go start working on our pillars then. I think that's the best thing, how to grow our business, to grow our real estate business. So here we go. Past client and center of influence. That's what we were talking about. So anybody gets added on there that right now, because you don't have any past clients. But as you go forward, you're going to add all those past clients, present clients, people you're working with to your center of influence and keep on growing it on a regular basis, right? I kind of want to do a whole training on for sale by owner. I think it's important. This is a really good resource to tap. I had a lot of guys in my last office who lived off of a lot of for sale by owner business. I've got a few listings in my lifetime off of for sale by owner business. So get in the habit when you're driving around, you see those for sale signs that aren't by real estate agents, or if you see a Kijiji ad or a Craigslist ad or a Facebook marketplace ad, and you can go in and try and approach these people. It's a good pillar to work to try and find business from, because these people already want to sell their house. It's not as cold a hit as trying to do cold calls to just a neighborhood or just randomly calling around, right? You already know these people want to sell. So it's somebody that is definitely in the market, definitely a hot lead. You just have to try and capture them for your own. So how do you do that with the for sale by owners, right? You have to spend a little time doing some research, right? I always jot down house numbers as I'm driving around. I have this habit, you know what I mean? My phone, on the notepad, I just have random numbers like 23 Main Street or, 126 Kennedy. And, I have the names and numbers of everything that I think that looks like it might be going up for sale. So look out for triggers, such as like bins in people's driveways, people redoing their roof, a lot of garbage debris, maybe look a lot of construction stuff to the curb, things that look like they might be renovating or prepping the house for sale. It's a good indicator that they're going to be up, but definitely those with the little handmade or the little Home Depot bought for sale signs that aren't professional real estate signs, because like I said, they already want to sell their house. So it's definitely a warm lead to approach, right? So a lot of times the for sale by owners, the biggest objection you get with them is that they don't want to pay the commission, right? So what I always say is that, I call the for sale by owner and we say, hey, I want to book an appointment with you because I want to come into your property. I have lots of buyers looking and I want to be able to speak intelligently about your property. Can I have an appointment with you this Thursday? Right? They say, okay, great. Once I get there, I definitely try to talk to them a little bit about their sale. So I talk to them a little bit about, hey, how many showings have you had? Have you had any offers? try to troubleshoot it a little bit for them. You find if they've already had their house up for a week or two, they're really frustrated. A lot of these for sale by owners, these FSBOs will say, oh, you know, I don't want to pay the commission because at the beginning they're thinking, oh, it's so easy. These agents just put up the house and it's nothing, right? They don't realize all the work that we put into it. Once they're getting all those calls and they have to show the house so many times and they're getting bombarded with questions, they get really tired and frustrated fast, right? So it's good to show them the things that you can do, like you have good negotiating skills, our office is handling the phone calls, I'll be dealing with all the showings, and sort of alleviate that for them. But a lot of it comes down to commission for them. So how do you combat this, right? A lot of people say to me, hey, you know what? And it's common. If you guys call for sale by owners, I guarantee you're going to get this. I bet my life on it. They're going to say, you know what? I don't want to pay you to list my property, but if you bring a buyer, I'll give you 3%. So very often I say to them, okay, I hear what you're saying. That's great. But what you're basically doing is you're paying for someone to represent the buyer in a huge transaction. You know, it's worth $1 million, commonplace in Scarborough now, right? But you're not paying to anybody for anybody to represent your interests for the sale of your property. I don't really understand that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of legalese, there's a lot of clauses, and for just like a 0.5% more, if you're going to do it for the 1%, for 3.5, you would have representation from me and I would post it on MLS. To further that, to boost the price of your property up there, what's going to happen is you're working with only a few buyers that are coming off of Kijiji or Craigslist or Marketplace, wherever they've advertised. Whereas when I post on the real estate board and there's 65,000 realtors there. Every single one of them is working with 3 to 5 buyers. How many buyers is that? So now you're going to have all these people come through your door. The more people through your door, the more people fighting for your property, the higher the price your property is going to go, right? It's going to pick up the price of your property. If you're just selling it for yourself and you only have 2-3 people coming by, it's not really going to push it up that aggressively. So those are a couple of ways to close the FSBOs, but they're definitely a little pot to pick in for boosting your business, for growing your business if you're looking for business. Be mindful. I know how many hours you guys are sitting down there. I was in your place, and I'm in your place sometimes too. Don't take for granted. I didn't really want to name this just for new agents because I think seasoned agents go through it as well, where they get through these pockets, they're doing really well and they're getting lots of listings, and all of a sudden they're dead. And once we're dead, we don't really know what to do with ourselves. We're kind of lost puppies because we're used to being busy, busy, busy. So I keep on even reminding seasoned agents that come to me frustrated about these different pillars to work, because it's so important to see how you can look for business when you have a little bit of downtime, right? In real estate, it's really difficult to get the ball rolling. I always try to encourage new agents coming in, expect for the first 6 months you're working, you're not going to make a lot of money. It's kind of like rolling a snowball. You know, if you guys ever made a snowman before, you start rolling the snowball and it gets really, really, really difficult. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you have this big snowball and it goes rolling along just fine, right? But the thing with real estate is you have to keep that momentum going. So that's why I say it's not just for new agents, it's for seasoned agents too. In a little bit of downtime, when you don't have anything to do, you should keep the ball rolling by picking through your different pillars and looking for business, right? All right. The next one I want to talk about is expired listings. So this says USA clients, which is, you know, funny because we're not supposed to go after expired listings. A lot of them say do not contact after expiry. But terminated and expired listings are definitely a great way to go. Again, they're another warm lead, like a for sale by owner. How do you do that? How do you search for expired and terminated listings, right? Let me just go off of this share and go back onto Stratus for a minute so I can share this with you guys. We're going to go into Stratus, right? Just grab my spotlight here on my mouse. All right, so we're going to go into Stratus and we're going to go to search. Okay, and let's try to do EO9 again, for instance. You want to pick unavailable. Okay, continue. I'm going to go to Toronto and go to EO9. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to pick last status. Okay, and I want to pick expired. And I'm also going to pick terminated. Okay, you can see I have 383 results up here. That's a little bit too much. You always want to try to bring your results down to less than 200. It's only going to display 200 for you. You want to make sure you're not missing anything pertinent. So sold date, we all know the market was really hot from like March on this year. So recently when I've been doing my CMAs and all my research for my clients, I only go back to about March because I know the prices were really different in 2020. Oh, sorry. It's not going to work for sold date. I'm going to have to do last change. I forgot I was doing terminated. So last update we'll do from March. Okay, and I have 109 there. So now I'm just going to go and I'm going to submit and see what's been terminated and expired. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to sort by street name because a lot of times it's been terminated or expired a couple times, right? Move this back up here. All right, so for instance, I have 21 Ada Crescent. Okay, now this takes a little bit of time and research, but again, it's a really lucrative thing to look for to try and find business. And I encourage you to do door knocks on these ones. Okay, door knocks really work for these. If you call them, they've probably been called by 1,000 agents and they're sick of it because a lot of agents chase terminated and expired, right? So you have 21 Ada Crescent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new window. Okay, and I want to do a search of available and unavailable. Okay, continue. That's why it's good just to work a small list. Like I said, even 109 is a bit much. Sometimes I try to bring it down to 30 or 40 to look if I'm going to go door knocking today and go hit up these terminated and expireds, right? But we'll bring it down here, 21 Ada. We'll submit. So here's a really great example. This is not one I'm going to chase because what they did is the reason they terminated it is I guess their bid date did not work. It looks like they put it up more for true price and they ended up selling 1.145. So I would not go and door knock this one. Let's just try another one. Hopefully we hit a good one. 32 Allenbury. Let's try this one. What you're ideally wanting to find is someone who's been up a couple times and has not sold. And then you can go and try and grab that listing for yourself and try and figure out, you don't just want to take the listing and not do anything with it. Okay, so this one's a good one. This one is 32 Allenbury. Let me just minimize my screen here. I have no space to click around here. I know you guys can't see that, but I've got everything open. 32 Allenbury here. It's listed for $8.99. Its contract date was June, okay, and it never sold. Okay, so now I see somebody here who's been listed in June. I know they want to sell. I know that if I approach this house, the likelihood of me getting a listing is better than me just calling some random street, right? Cold calls work, but you have to hit a lot of cold calls. If you go directly and knock on this door now, you're going to say, hey, I noticed you were up in June. I have clients looking in this neighborhood. You know, do you want to discuss a little bit about putting your house back on the market, right? And go with some ammo, go with some things, some sales in the neighborhood, go with some ideas of how you can list it differently. So I normally look at the listing, just pretend this guy didn't take professional photos. These photos are great, it's fine. You know, but a lot of agents might have taken it with their phone. They might be dark and dim. I would say, I don't think your property was showcased very well online. Maybe I could market it differently. This is how I could do it. I'm doing professional photos right now. A lot of times with COVID, you know, virtual and 3D tours are doing a lot better online. I didn't see that you had one on your listing, you know, different reasons where you can go and try and sell this property better. So terminated and expired are a good pot for you guys to pick from. If you guys want help or if you don't know how I did that, you guys can ask me again. But basically, it's just doing an unavailable search of terminated and expired in a certain pocket that you want to work, right? So you guys have any questions on that so far before I go on to the next pillar? Are any of you trying to do any cold calling or door knocking right now to grow your business? Where are you guys getting most of your business from? You guys doing social media marketing? You talking to your center of influence? Okay, we'll go on to the next pillar. Right. So the next pillar that we want to work is calling just listed or just sold. So So you're going to think, but I don't have a listing. I don't have a sale, right? You can use the strength of your office. I always keep on encouraging everybody to do this. Even in the last office, I kept on saying, you have to think of it. That's why I always talk about us being Remax Ace family, right? We're one brokerage, even though we're all doing our own jobs, we're all independent contractors, we're all one brokerage together, right? So you guys can use the strength of our brokerage. So when you go to listing appointments, I always say, I have 130 agents working in this area, right? You know, especially if I'm listing close to the brokerage, right? If not, I just say, oh, I have 130 agents working towards this common goal of trying to sell your property, right? So calling around just listed and just sold, what you can do is you can see what your brokerage currently has listed or sold in the area that you're interested in buying or selling in, right? You guys should all be picking a farm area as well, which I'll hopefully have time to talk about. But let me just go back here. I'll stop the share and I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to look at just listed or just sold for our brokerage. Okay. So how do you work a just listed or just sold? What you want to do is you want to call people and say, hey, you know what? We just listed a property in your area. And a lot of times people go, oh, no, I don't want to list. As soon as they hear you're from Remax or, you know, that you're a real estate agent, you're going to say to them, no, we just listed Almighty We Brokerage, even though it's not your listing, you're going to say, we just listed a property in your area. And I just wanted to know if you know anybody that wants to move into the neighborhood. It's kind of like a pick your own neighbor program, you know what I mean? And they normally giggle once they realize you're not trying to push the sale of their house. Sometimes they'll say to you, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so down the road is looking for a property for her son, or I know that somebody wants their friend to move in. And then once they get comfortable in talking with you, then you can approach them and say, are you possibly looking to buy or sell? Because I have a lot of buyers looking at this property now that we have listed, but only one person's going to get that property. So the other buyers are obviously looking in this neighborhood. If you got the right price, would you be looking to sell? So it's a good way to get other listings that way. So you're going to go to search. I'll show you how to look up what our brokerage has. Now you can do this with any listing. Say you have a farm area and our brokerage doesn't have a listing in that area. You can do this with any brokerage. You just have to ask permission of that agent. The benefit of looking into our brokerage's history and finding out what we have listed or what we have sold is that you don't have to ask permission, right? Because we're all one in the same brokerage. You can advertise each other's listings. So you're going to go to predefined search. You're going to go to my brokerage.
MLS. From MLS, people are getting the picture and they also say like it's just listed like.
Yeah.
And so we can do that.
So you can do that for everybody's listing in the brokerage. If it's outside the brokerage, you have to give written permission. So shoot them an email or a text or something and say, hey, I like your listing so much. Do you mind if I advertise it? And they have to answer yes before you advertise it. Yeah. For other agents, say you love a listing that's not from this brokerage, you just have to send them an email.
I would like to know also the coming soon.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can do that too. You just have to write to that agent and say, hey, I see you have a coming soon in this neighborhood. Do you mind if I advertise it? Right? You just need that agent's permission.
How can I get the coming soon? Coming soon thing, like
information. So coming soon information isn't listed in our Stratus. You just have to notice a coming soon on a sign or something like that. The idea behind coming soon is that, so I think it's less likely an agent would say yes for coming soon than they would for a property listed, because the whole reason we're putting coming soon on our sign is it's not on MLS. So anybody driving by is calling us directly. They're not calling their agent first because their agent has no information on the coming soon, right? They only have the information for things that's loaded on MLS, right? It's like an exclusive listing almost at that point. So that agent is gathering as many buyers as they can the week or 2 or 3 before their listing goes live on MLS. That's what they're doing. They're gathering buyers, not just for their listing, but buyers to work with even on other properties in the area. So coming soon is really, if you guys aren't putting coming soon on listings that you know you have coming, you're missing out on a lot of business from buyers for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, sorry, I'll just start again here. So you go to search, you go to predefined searches, you go to my brokerage history and continue. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to see what we have available. So I'm just going to take everything because I did freehold available. There's only 11 there. I think we have like about 50 listings between condos and leases and stuff in the office, but right now freehold, we have 11. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to see that, oh, wow, look, my client's, looking in EO4. I really work this EO4 area. So, this Jeevens one, I'm going to go and I'm going to advertise it, right? So even though it's Shahid's listing, I can go and I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to call around Jeevens Street. I'll show you guys a trick of how to find the numbers. We talk a lot about the do not call list too, which is a little bit of an issue, but I'll tell you guys, it's not really 100% necessary, but we see 57 Jeevens anyways, 3 + 1 listed for $1,099,000, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go here and I'm going to open a new window and I'm going to go to Canada 411. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys can see. I'm going to stop the share and go back again. I know sometimes it's funny when you switch the windows. All right. So now Canada 411, I'm going to go to this little hamburger here at the top left. I'm going to do a reverse address search. And what I want to see is who lives on Jeevens in Toronto, Ontario. And I'm going to search. I have 13 results. So I have everybody on Jeevens here. And at this point, I get a lot of people say, hey, what about the do not call list? And I'm going to say, I use the do not call list for years and years and years at the other office. And we ended up we stopped subscribing to it because it is a lot of money and it doesn't really save you too much. So there are some there that are in red that you're not supposed to call and they're on a do not call list. I'm going to tell you a lot of people who do not want to be called are also unlisted. So they won't be on here. They're unlisted. They're not listed where you can easily find their number. If you do hit somebody who's listed but is on a do not call list, I just politely apologize, or anybody who gets aggravated. It doesn't even have to be that they're officially on the do not call list. And I say to them, oh, I apologize, no problem. I didn't mean to bother you. I just wanted to let the neighborhood know about this great listing that's come up, and I'll talk, won't talk to you again. Please don't call that house again over and over and over again, because you will get a complaint for the do not call list. But generally, if you're just working with Canada 411, I, knock on wood, haven't run into any big problems. Like I say, a lot of people who are putting themselves on a do not call list are unlisted numbers anyways. They just don't want unwarranted calls of people who don't know their number. But this is a good way. Now I call everybody on Jeevens and I'd say, hey, like give them the spiel we were talking about. Hey, our office, or I always use the almighty we, because I don't like to say our office, because then sometimes they ask you, well, is it not your listing, right? I always use the almighty we. I say, we've got a listing in your neighborhood, 57 Jeevens, listed for $1,099,000, 3 + 1 bedroom. If you're looking to, for anybody, if you know anybody looking in the area to buy, great. Hey, by the way, do you want to sell your house? Got lots of buyers looking, right? So that's how to use just listed. Just sold works the same way. You just go into the search and search unavailable instead. So you're going to go to predefined searches. You're going to go to my brokerage history. You're going to go to unavailable. And then you're going to search it that way. That's the same thing from here on in, what area you're looking in and everything, right? Anybody got any questions about that so far? Well, you guys good? All right. We'll go on here to see what other pillars we can cover before we finish up here today. Geographical farming. So farming, I think next to your center of influence, right, that you're working, geographical farming is just something you have to have. You can do just listed, just sold calls. You can do terminated, expired calls. You can do door knocks. You can do social media. You can send flyers out. Everybody has a different thing that they like to do that they find works for them. Not everything works the same for everyone. Trust me. I'm more of a door knocker, whereas my brother who does real estate is more of a social media guy because he's really good on social media. It's his forte, right? But I think that every single agent, no matter what their forte is, no matter what they're good at doing, should always keep their center of influence and their geographical farm, always hand in hand, right? Your center of influence, you got to go back to, as Rob Vivian's saying, a little more, on a regular basis than I do. I usually only go back to my center of influence when I'm having a lull in business, but you should be going back to it on the regular, checking up on your old clients, checking up on everybody you know, seeing who has business. Geographical farm is definitely your second, has to be constant there. So what's a farm area? A farm area is you picking a neighborhood that you want to work in, right? Literally no more than 500 homes you have to start working with, because you want to have the ability to capture this audience as well as you can. You ever noticed in your area, in your home, that there's a regular real estate agent, the guy who always lists or the girl who always lists in your neighborhood? That's because they're farming that area. How do you farm an area? You take 500 homes. What you're going to do is you're going to take a flyer, for instance. What you're going to start doing is, I want to encourage you to try an 8 to 10 week campaign. They say you have to see your name at least 10 times before they're going to remember you. And now I want you to send out that flyer once every 2 weeks for the next 16 weeks, right? You're doing like a 8 flyer campaign, for instance. They want you to send out that flyer. After a week or 2 of sending out that flyer, now I want you to start calling that area. I want you to incorporate either just listed or just sold or terminated or expired. And they're going to say, oh yeah, I saw your flyer. Oh yeah, a couple of times. You have to send it a couple of times before they're going to say that to you. Not only that, I want you to go and be really familiar. On your lunch break, go take your car and go drive around that area now. You need to know everybody in that area. You need to know who's renovating, who's getting elderly, whose son just got married, who needs to like move out because they can't do the stairs anymore, who needs a bigger place because they just had a baby. You need to know that about your home, like your area, sorry. That's why I say keep it small. Even if you want to start off with 300 homes, it's fine. Just something so you can know you need to annihilate that area, meaning that every time somebody in that little neighborhood pocket thinks, I want to buy or I want to sell, it's your name that they're thinking of. Why? Because your fridge magnet's on their fridge. They just got your flyer last week. They talked to you when you were walking the neighborhood and door knocked. You congratulated them on their son's, wedding. And, they always see you. Always see your signs in the lawns, right? A lot of people say to me, I like to work with buyers because you make more money with buyers, right? Yes, but don't get caught up in this as a new agent because you will run out of business. You need to have your name out there. How do you get your name out there? You need to advertise. How do you advertise? That big sign in the lawn is free advertising. Once you pay for the sign, obviously, but once it's in the lawn, it's there for you and the neighbors see it, right? They see you put it up. They see you put the sold. They talk to that neighbor. You did a great job. That's how you keep on top of mind especially in your farm area. Right? But anywhere you go, and then you should be doing your own just sold calls in that neighborhood and sending out your just sold flyers in that neighborhood to capture more business from that signage or that sale. Right? And then open houses, we haven't been doing too much of them, but that's the last pillar. It used to be a really good sort of pot from us to pick in, like I keep on saying. Open houses, I tell my clients really honestly right now, everyone who's freaking out that they weren't able to do open houses, their house is still sold. And I was really honest with them. I said, a small percentage of homes sell from open houses, really and truly they're for us agents. So now as things open up again, you guys should really hone your open house experience, because what happens is when you have an open house, everybody that's coming through that door is looking to buy a house in that neighborhood pocket, in that price. And not everybody's going to buy that home. So you have to be really careful to capture everybody's information as they're coming in the door and make a connection with them, talk with them, get to know what they're looking for, because those are all your buyers you're going to work with, right? So anybody who tells me, I like to do buyers more than listings, it's hard to get listings. Yeah, but from the listings, that's where you're going to pull a lot of your buyers. Everybody calling off your sign, everybody coming to your open house. You should be saving every number that calls you, every single number that calls you on your phone about any listing that you have. You should be saving them. Those are all your buyers you're going to work with. And that's, of course, that's where you're going to make more money, because generally we discount the listing end of everything. All right, let me stop the share. How's everybody doing over there? Everybody good this morning? Anybody got any questions? You guys have to go out there and look for business. Okay, it's not a passive thing. Real estate's not a passive thing, but I keep on telling everybody it's lucrative. Like, don't lose momentum because you're a brand new agent and you've come in and you haven't made money in the first, even 6 months of being here. It's fine, because it takes you a couple months to get past that learning curve. Then anything you sell 3-4 months in, you're not getting paid for it, till 30, 60 days after that when it closes. I guarantee you for this first 6 months, you need a little, pad fund for yourself, because you're not going to be making a lot of money. But by that 6-month mark, once you start making money, the momentum shouldn't stop. You should keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Whether you're in the office every day now that things are opening back up, or you're at your own home office, you should always be on the computer, making sure you're entering your prospects, making sure you're following up with your clients, and always asking for business. That's why I say 10 business cards a day. That's my rule of thumb. You got to give out those business cards. You should be blowing through your business cards and ordering them all the time. Give it out all day long. So how's everybody doing? Everybody good there? Anybody got any questions? Everybody's so quiet this rainy morning. I hope.
Question about the open house.
Yeah.
When we list a house, then we can do it the
Open house. But even, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but my last office used to work this way. A lot of these people here who have lots of listings, or even if they just have one listing, some people don't want to go and on the weekend and do 2-3 open houses for their listings they have. So if you notice online that our brokerage has, you know, a certain person has 2 or 3 listings, you can approach them and ask them if you can do an open house for them. So a lot of times when people did open houses for me, I gave the opportunity a lot at my other office. I hardly did open houses. I let a lot of the new agents go and try to collect buyers so they could get some people working on it. I just say I'd say I get a lot of agents approaching me saying, hey, can I do your open house for you? I say, great, no problem. So any buyer that comes in that collects their information, that's their buyer. They can go find them a house, take the commission for it, no problem. And I got exposure for my listing, right? That was hopefully, I mean, it might sell, but it's a rare occasion that things sell during an open house, really and truly. It's an opportunity for you to collect those buyers' names and buyers to work with. So if you guys all look online and see in our brokerage who has like listings that you might want to do an open house for, ask them, offer them. It's very likely that they'll say yes. It's not going to hurt them to have an open house for their listing, right? It'll benefit them for their listing. It gets exposure. So yeah. And to their clients, it looks like they're working really hard, right? So, which we are.
Christine, I have a question.
Yeah.
Open house have to be the listing agent do the open house, or you
No.
say like anyone can do, like even the
Anyone can do
homeowner?
an open house as long as you're an agent. It has to be a licensed agent.
What about owner if they want?
No.
When they give the prospect everything, they can just give
Well,
them.
I mean, owner can do whatever they want for their property, but here's the catch: when they sign the contract with us, there's a part when they sign the listing agreement saying that they're allowing us to sell the property and that they're not going to do anything to sell the property on their own. So technically, if they were doing their own open house, that was sort of
sometimes change other way around.
Yeah, but it has to be a licensed agent. So back in the day when my dad would have like 2-3 open houses, he'd send us to go like sit at the open houses for him, and you could do that, but not anymore. It has to be a licensed agent in your open house for you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
A couple of different brokerage.
Different brokerage?
Yeah.
You could, but then, you know, it depends. Like if the house sells, then you're going to have to come. You just have to, I always say when you work with other agents, you have to define things very clearly from the beginning. So if I was going to go to another brokerage, say you're at another brokerage, I'd say to you, okay, so any buyer is mine to work with. Great. Okay. But if I find the buyer for your property, then, you know, like, how are we splitting things? How's it working? Right. So, cause that agent might want something for it.
So do we have to disclose to our listing, like we are signing some other brokerage something, or say we are Remax, the other brokerage home block. Can we do it?
They can sit for your open house. There's no reason they can't sit for it. Just has to be, Rico just says it has to be a licensed agent. So as long as like the listing agent and me are in good agreement, I'm going to go sit to your open house. Okay. Everything that comes in is my buyer. Yeah, no problem. Okay, great. Just so there's no miscommunication afterwards.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we should inform to our seller, like, I don't have a time on behalf of me. Something.
Yeah. Another one of my colleagues will be sitting in kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's a good thing for us to do. Like I say, if you go through our listings and see any of these new agents, they can offer to do open houses. I hardly did my open houses at all. I'd always give them to the new agents because, I mean, now we're not doing open houses so much, but things are opening back up. I think it's good because a lot of times, you know, we've done so many open houses, we don't necessarily want to sit at them, or weekends, or like, you know, if we're working hard during the week. I used to give it all to the new agents and let them do my open houses, pick the buyers from it. Just, you know, you guys can help and start working with buyers. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a good idea.
Give us some opportunity to do open
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Because, we are still like confusing what should I do, what
Yeah,
should I tell.
yeah.
So it's really influence. Like
I used to post it on the regular. If I had a listing, I'd post it like in the family chat, like our WhatsApp chat, and say, hey, does anyone want to do an open house for my 18 Dale Park this weekend? You know, and I go first come first serve, right? And you get like all these messages, whoever messaged you first, right? And then sometimes there'd be a couple. So like I had one where 3 new agents, 3 ladies, they all agreed, okay, since we all came to her, let's all go together and do the open house. So the 3 of them went and did it for one time. So it's just good experience. Yeah, a good way to pick up business. So I don't know who has big listings right now that wants help with an open house, but you can approach them.
Geographical has a big open house I saw.
Yeah, with that Bonnie.
Mhm.
You're also one.
Yeah, Vani's listing is really pretty too. Nice one. For sure. And while you're there, like do your social media, do the walkthrough. You don't even post it on your Instagram, post it on your, whatever, TikTok, your Snapchat, whatever you're doing, use it to your advantage. Like I always say for new agents, you have to use the strength of your brokerage. Because there's other people here and there's lots of stuff you can do that you're not necessarily taking business away from them, but you're helping yourself. You know what I mean? Social media doesn't know that it's not your listing. You know what I mean? You can say, we have this beautiful listing. Well, we do. It's your brokerage, right? We have this beautiful listing at Fillets, right? Come and see it. Come check it out. Call me today for this listing, right? Yeah. So definitely use it as a good place to pick business from, for sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Conversation is very helpful for.
Good. I'm happy. That's good. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will talk to you all next week. Tomorrow's Rob Vivian training. So whoever wants to come into the office, you're welcome. I'll
Thank
send a
you.
reminder out today. No
We will
problem.
come.
For sure.
We will come and join.
Sounds good. And Friday's our Halloween. So you guys have to come dress up and bring some more canned goods. We got tons of stuff coming into the office. So I'll talk to you guys next week though.
Next week. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you soon.